Welcome to Unpacking Brain Drama. I am Pratiti Pathak. I'm a resilience life coach, speaker, podcast host of this amazing podcast. And today I am super excited to celebrate with you becoming a best-selling author. This episode for sure is super exciting for me, as I know it's going to be powerful for you guys. It's super powerful for me. I know that I say all the time that these episodes are personal to me because they really are. Each and every one of them are so personal to me. So, welcome to another transformative episode of Unpacking Brain Drama. And I just want to say hello to you guys, my amazing trailblazers. I am your guide on this self-discovery, self-empowerment, intentional living journey that we are all on. And as a life coach, as a resilience life coach, all of my work is literally based on cognitive behavioral science. I'm also a speaker. And like I'm sharing with you guys today, I feel very different today than any other day. It's a super personal, powerful day for me. And yesterday, a book that I am honored to be a part of officially launched into the world and got published. The book name is Breaking the Silence: Voices of Survivors, Volume 4. This anthology brings together the stories of 20 incredible individuals who chose courage over silence and vulnerability over hiding. About 5 years ago, I was a guest on the very first podcast that I ever was on, and I shared my story. And it was Pablo Gonzalez who was the first person to ever interview me. And I remember him saying, "This is incredible. You should share your story." Eric Cabral, Kristen Olson, I'm just going to shout out to you guys who encouraged me and gave me kind of permission to have my voice be spoken out loud, right? Each story is different, different backgrounds, different life experiences, each and every one of them, right? Different kinds of pain, different paths to healing. But what connects every single one of these incredible stories is one powerful truth, right? There is incredible power in telling your story. And today I want to talk to you why that matters so much to me and to so many of you out there. Even if you don't even know why it matters so much to you, that's what we're going to share with you today. There's a reason why silence keeps people stuck, right? So many of us, let me rephrase, too many of us walk through life carrying parts of our story in silence, right? We talk about, or we may have this conversation with ourselves, I would say. Uh, we feel shame around our story. There's a lot of blame around our story. Maybe I'm just speaking of my own, right? We have fear around other people's judgment of our story. And when I mean our story, our life experiences, things that we have gone through. Sometimes we're protecting family, right? We have cultural expectations. Most importantly, we don't want to reopen wounds, right? Or we may even believe that maybe my story doesn't really matter, right? Unconsciously, we may be thinking silence can feel more protective, at least at first, right? And we're not consciously thinking that silence feels more protective. It's an unconscious thought, right? And it creates that feeling of safety by keeping silent, right? It can feel like we're keeping the peace. It can feel like we're being strong. For me, there wasn't a word like resilience that I knew. I didn't even know the word grief or grieving back then. I just was uh, taught to just brush it off and stand up and move on. And I called that strength, right? We thought we're being strong. But over time, silence can become super heavy, right? Because we never speak about the things that we've gone through, or I should say more like, but when we never think about the things that we've gone through that have shaped us, the grief, the losses, the traumas, the struggles, we end up carrying those experiences alone. And we carry them alone like it's this big, heavy pocketbook, this big, heavy bag, if you will, that we think we're supposed to carry around with us, right? Then I want you to just ask yourself this question. If that may sound like you, right? We all have bags that we carry around. That's why we call it our baggage, right? Why do we feel like we need to have baggage to carry around? So let's just ask ourselves this one little um, reflective question. Okay. I want you to just reflect on this. You don't have to answer this out loud, but I just want you to notice what comes up. Ask yourself, what part of my life have I been carrying around in silence? And then just pause. I want you to, I want you to feel, I want you to think about what comes up. Just notice what comes up for you, right? Here's the thing. There's so much courage to share in your sharing of your story. I think that's the biggest shift that I feel this morning. It's like, even all the way up until the book got published, you're like, did I do the right thing? But the moment it gets out there into the universe, one of the most beautiful things happens, right? It's like this weight is just lifted off of you, and you have this exhale moment, right? One of the most beautiful things about this book is that it reminds us that every person you meet is carrying a story that you just cannot see, right? The courage it took for myself and the other authors to write those words down, the vulnerability that it took, the ripple effect that it's going to have when it comes to telling our story, and how stories create connection. I want to give you just a quick example. While I was writing this chapter, it's a chapter. I'm chapter 9, by the way, in this book. Um, and the the editor for our book, I got to meet with him, and he had written a little side note, right, on how powerful my story was and how inspiring it was. And I like literally was in tears just reading his comments. And he's like, I'm just going to take a pause and a side note. Just want to tell you how inspirational your story is and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, oh God, that means so much to me. But when I got on a call with him, one of the things that he shared with me is that he was personally going through some loss, or potential loss. And something that I said in the book, like just every single day you got to get up and go be in front of people, go get coffee. And literally while he was going through his own thing, he thought about my book chapter and my words, and he told himself, just go get coffee. Now, when one person gets affected by something that you've shared, it's all worth it, right? When one person shares their story, something really powerful happens. It gives other people permission to say, me too. Did you ever notice when like a crime has been committed and then one person like 20 years later finally stands up and says, this happened to me? five other people show up and say it happened to me too, because there's courage, and we have more ability to be brave when we're doing it together with others, right? You get to say, like, me too. That happened. That happened to me too. I thought I was the only one. And then suddenly, what once felt so isolating becomes something shared. I spent many, many years in isolation with my own thoughts and feelings of emptiness and feeling alone because I thought I'm the only one going through these things, right? Stories are bridges. They connect people across pain, across cultures, across experiences, right? And when someone is brave enough to speak their truth, it usually, right, gives someone else the courage to begin their healing journey, right? Maybe not even right away. Maybe they hear your story and then they let it go through their mind over and over and over and over. And maybe then they share it with somebody. Maybe they share it with somebody else. Maybe they decide to finally let it out, right? All of this is about what? It's about turning your pain into purpose. That's what these books are about. I have to give a shout out to Michelle Jewsbury, who is uh, she's a collaborator, right? She's the one that has put all of this together. She's curated this beautiful book right here, Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivor. It's stories about triumph, resilience, and transformation. That's what we do here, right? The stories in this book are not just about what people went through, it's about who they became because of those experiences. Right here on this channel, that's what I'm always talking about. It's not about the goal, it's about the becoming. It's about who you become while going after it, right? When I think about all of us, we are literally evolving every day for the good or maybe not so good, right? But this is what resilience is. This is what growth is. This is the meaning behind the movement, right? It's transformation. That's what speaking up, that's what telling it to someone else, that's what that ripple effect creates. It creates resilience, evolvement, growth, transformation. You take this version of you, this caterpillar version of you, and you choose to liquefy that version by telling that story. And all of a sudden, it gives you this incredible courage and bravery and strength to break out of that cocoon, that shell, and become this beautiful, brilliant butterfly that you were always meant to be, right? You could share anything. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Writing my chapter, I didn't write a whole book. And take my word for this, folks. I am going to be right. Everybody has said, how many people have said to you, you should write a book? You should write a book. Mine's going to be a four volume because I feel like I've lived four different lives, right? Not just phases of my life, but literally four different lives. One looks so unrecognizable to the next. It's unbelievable to me, right? I'll be honest, writing my chapter was one of the most emotional things I have ever done. Most of you know that I have lost my son, Bevan, who was 17. We just had his 34th birthday. That was the 17th birthday without him. So now we've had 17 birthdays with him and 17 birthdays without him. Okay. April coming up will be 4 years of this podcast on his anniversary date, April 17th. On April 17th will also be 17 years without him. So I will have come to that space where I have now been with him for 17 years and been without him for 17 years. It's mind blowing, right? So, again, honesty, full disclosure, the most emotional, most vulnerable thing that I've ever done. And I've had three other pregnancies that did not come to full term. So in my chapter, I'm writing about losing four babies. And there were moments, oh my God, there were moments where I just sat at my computer crying while I was typing, right? It was healing, it was heavy, it was vulnerable, and at the same time, it was also one of the most loving things that I could do for myself, to honor my story rather than to hide from it and honor my experience of my own life. Right? When we're hiding from things, we're literally not even wanting to look at pieces of our own life, which is what I did, right? Until I was able to speak it out loud. I can't tell you how many people were like, I had no idea. I never knew. Yeah, because I never shared it. I've never even shared it in any other podcast episode while I have been out there being interviewed, right? Then there's a connection. All of a sudden, you recognize and you realize that our experiences, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, can become some of our greatest teachers. They always will be, right? The people that hurt you the most are your best teachers. They're your Yodas, right? They're the senseis that you just have to say, oh, thank you, Master, for teaching that to me, right? Those are your spirit guides that chose to come to earth with you and help your soul's purpose and journey evolve, right? They can shape your compassion. They can deepen your understanding. And sometimes they become the very thing that allows you, me, everyone to help someone else. I mean, that I think is the most powerful part. Yes, there's so much healing for ourselves that happens, but it is even more healing for me if I know that I'm just a tiny part of helping someone else not just heal, but just even begin to heal or even begin to think that they may heal. That's powerful to me. So I want to invite you guys, okay? If you're watching this live right now, which let me even look on here. I don't know if I can see. I'm so new at this. I don't know who's watching or who's not, but I can see that a few of you are watching is what I think that I see. If you are watching, okay, live right now, and if you feel comfortable sharing, drop a word in the chat. Just one word, okay? What does it feel like when you finally speak your truth? Okay, just one word. Tell me one word. Is it freedom? Is it relief? Is it strength? Is it proud? Is it bravery? Is it just honest, strength, healing? Whatever word comes to mind for you, drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. That's what I want to see, right? Every single one of us has a story. Some of our chapters are amazing and they're super, super exciting, filled with joy. And some chapters are painful. Some chapters are still unfolding. I have all of the above. I have painful stories. I have painful chapters. I have amazing chapters that are filled with joy and fun and love and success and abundance. And then some that are still unfolding that I haven't even shared with you yet. But our stories matter. Number one, because they're ours. But when we can share them, we find out that they connect with so many people, right? When we share them, we remind others that they are also not alone and that their story matters, right? And sometimes, most of the time, the most powerful powerful thing we can do is just simply speak. Just say it out loud, even if you don't write it on paper. Not everything has to go into a book. Just sharing it out loud. Start with just facing yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I love you, and we've been through a lot. I get you, and I still love you. I see you, and you're beautiful. I hear you, and you're brilliant, right? Your story may be the light someone else needs to find their way through their darkness. Okay? Your story isn't something to hide. This chapter of mine isn't just an accomplishment, it's an act of courage. Okay? I've said that a lot. Your story is not something to hide. It may be the very thing someone else needs to heal. Okay? Just going to drop the mic on that one. If this conversation resonates with you, I invite you to check out this book, Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors That Have Unsilenced Their Voices, Volume 4. These stories are powerful reminders. They're our powerful reminders that healing is possible. It's very much doable. Courage is contagious, right? Time doesn't heal things. What time does is it changes your relationship with the experiences. And when you share them, it helps change the relationship even more and more and more to a place where you're getting growth out of that healing. None of us are meant to walk through life alone. I just got a book from one of my friends, Dr. Rob Bell, and the name of the book is No One Gets There Alone. Such a powerful book, right? When we share stories, especially in writing where other people can see them. That's why I do this podcast, because I share stuff out loud right here on this channel. And you hear it and you connect with it. And you think to yourself, like, ooh, that sounds like me. If she can do that, and mess it all up on a live platform as I have, right? I mean, you guys know if you've been with me for a long time, when I first started, my Zoom would glitch, my internet would glitch, I looked like robotic Pratiti. I have evolved right here in front of your eyes. And I did that because I don't want to look perfect in front of you. I want to let you know I am real. I am you. And if I can do this, so can you, because you and I probably have way more in common than we do differences. That's the truth. And I know that to be fact because every single time I share pieces of myself, majority of the room says me too. So I want you to maybe, I don't know, let's get on this Me Too wave, right? Let us all in together because togetherness is what we really need. So keep inspiring one another. And remember, always be creating your results by design, not by default. Love you guys. We have to grow through what we go through.